It's time to get all your Star Wars news in a single file. From Fantatrax TV, this is Good Morning Tatooine!
Good morning, Tatooine, and welcome to the live stream. We're back once again with all your weekly Star Wars news all wrapped up in 1 hour. It has been a pretty manic week in the world of news, but in the world of Star Wars as well, which we're going to focus on tonight, and especially in the last 24 hours with Disney Plus Day and D23 kicking off. So we're going to try and capture everything that's been happening. So what have we got in store for you guys tonight? First up, we're talking the D23 trailers. Mandalorian Season 3, Tales of the Jedi, Andor and Willow all got new trailers. Jude Law's been talking Skeleton Crew. Disney Plus Day was here. We had the Andor special look and Obi-Wan Kenobi, a Jedi's Journal. We'll be reviewing them. Congratulations go to ILM VFX for the Book of Boba Fett Emmy win. The Bad Batch set to return 4th of January on Disney Plus. The Acolyte, could Jodie Turner-Smith be joining the cast of the Disney Plus show? And Lee Jun-Ye as well, you'll know him from the Squid Games on Netflix. He could also be joining the cast. Rosario Dawson's talking Ahsoka. And Amin Esfandini, I think. I don't know him, but we're going about to know him because he's playing Ezra Bridger in Ahsoka. Joining me to discuss all this and more from Fantatrax.com, Mr. Paul Naylor.
Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, and good night. I'm sure Mr. Bridger won't mind your mispronunciation of his name, however you pronounce it.
We've got a year, I reckon, before it shows on the air for me to mangle it until I can pronounce it properly.
Well, good luck with that. And purely by the magic of TV, we won't even say how close to the wire we were for me being here tonight. But I'm here.
we had well over 10 seconds. We had well over 10 seconds before we were going to air.
You're very generous.
It's all come together in the end. Can we hold it together for the next hour? That's the main thing.
Of course.
Mr. Newbold is in the chat. Evening, Mr. Newbold. Want to hear all your guys' thoughts and opinions of the news as we discuss it. And lots to cover, so I reckon we get straight into it.
Yeah.
So, first up, The Mandalorian had a nice little teaser trailer came out, and I reckon we should bring that up on the screen
Definitely.
whilst we talk about it. So a lot of it is what we've seen at Celebration, a few extra little bits in there, and it sort of recaps a little bit of what we've seen in the previous series, and gives a little hint of what we're going to see ahead of us as well. What do you think of it?
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that they're pointing out that it's a clan of two. That basically, by the decisions that Mando's made by removing his helmet, which apparently is the worst thing anybody could do. I mean, if anybody ever tries to remove my helmet, I'm sure I would let out a bigger scream than he ever did. But the fact that him and Grogu are now a clan of two, that was really emphasised at the beginning of this. And he's effectively no longer a Mandalorian. Um, who knew that would be the case? Aesthetically, this looks as good as season 1 and 2. I love all the extra Mandos that we were seeing there. There's some quirky looking ones. One with like a very Boba Fett sort of draped across the shoulder cape. And I love the fact that R5D4 looks like he's going to get elevated to new stardom as the astromech that travels in the N1 souped up fighter. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, there you go. The Kowakian monkey lizards. I was just about to talk about those. Fantastic to see those. And whether it's Babu Frick or one of his kind, he's going to be in the show. So yeah, it's just looking like an absolute fantastic dream of a show, a continuation of what we've already come to love. And yeah, can't wait for that one.
Yeah, I think everyone's kind of excited to see Mandalore.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
obviously the Mandalorian's back there in huge abundance as well.
yeah, I think in the trailer, correct me if I'm wrong, Bri, I think we get to see the husk of what was the Mandalorian sort of temple, if you like, or
Yeah, yeah.
palace. At first, I thought it was Death Star. I thought,
It
oh
kind
no,
of looks like a Death Star. You almost dread there. We're going for number
it
3.
did, didn't it? It
But
got that
it's
trick.
not. It's the remains of Mandalore.
Yeah, no, I figured that on rewatching it a few times, but at first I thought, oh no, no, Ray's going to turn up with the dagger. But no, it was all good. But yeah, that's looking pretty cool.
So obviously we're going to get a whole list of new Mandos as well. No Fat Mando, no Sasha Banks' Mando either. So we're going to see some new ones. Get
Yeah,
introduced to them. The clan's going to get a little bit bigger, other than the clan of 2. It's going to be the clan of 2 versus the clan of many. It appears to be, and it's a case
yeah.
of how close are they going to get to conflict? Is it going to be one side versus the other?
Well, this is it. I mean, are these going to be friends or foe to Mando? We don't really know. But yeah, it's got all the makings of a great season. The fact that Grogu has decided that he's turned his back on Luke Skywalker and rejoined Mando, as we saw in the book of Boba Fett. Then it'll be interesting to see how his little character develops. And conversely, will we get Boba Fett appearing in Mandalorian season 3?
Yeah,
Because there's been no mention of any continued Boba Fett material.
yeah.
And
As
it
Phil
would be
Parker
good.
saying there in the comments, the Darksaber issue needs resolving as well.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
Mando's obviously carrying that, but not particularly using it particularly well. Um, and struggling with the weight of it, because does it belong to him? Does it not? Um, and you've got the other side of the equation with Bo-Katan as well.
yeah,
How much is she going to tolerate Mando potentially usurping
yeah.
her position?
I thought there was parallels to that to the Phantom Menace as well in that trailer where you've got if you remember the original trailers of Phantom Menace where you got Queen Amidala looking through the elongated windows on Naboo, and then you've got the same in this with Bo-Katan. I thought that was quite a nice touch. But yeah, it's
Never
going to be
got
an
through the whole
interesting.
episode without mentioning the Queen.
That was a different Queen, yeah.
Yeah.
God bless.
The the other side of the coin, do we get a character like Sabine Wren? Does she come into it? Obviously, they've now got an actress playing her in Ahsoka. Could they bring her into Mando?
That's a very good point. Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of crossover between these different seasons, isn't there?
Yeah.
Which it's all building towards, dare I say it, that sort of Marvel mentality where everything sort of like bleeds into one. Not
Uh,
proving too successful lately for Marvel, so I hope we don't go too far down that road.
and of course, Bad Batch is going to be out as well. We'll be
Yeah,
speaking about that later in the show, and there's a potential that you could have some crossovers with that as well. Could we see Mando end up in animated form in that show?
oh, that'd be amazing. Yeah, I'd never even considered that, but also to see some of the Bad Batch appear in live action as well. That would
Yeah.
be cool. Yeah.
Just as the show is going live, not that we were panicking as it was going live, but news broke from D23 that Mando and Grogu are going to be coming to Galaxy's Edge as well.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think we were very fortunate when there was a bunch of us that were out there for celebration, and I think it was the day before we went back to we'd been there for the Star Wars nighttime show on the Friday, and then by the time we'd returned to the parks on the Monday, that very day, I think they brought in Boba Fett and Fennec Shand. So that obviously went well for them, and now they're bringing in Mando and Grogu. How they actually do the Grogu side of things is anyone's guess. I mean, they can do some fantastic animated versions, animatronic toys.
I'm
So
thinking a fully cooked one in the restaurant.
you're a sick man.
Just a bit like a full roast chicken, isn't it?
But why does everything always taste like chicken? It always does, apparently. So yeah, why not?
In the marketplace, great place to have them, says Mr. Newbold. He must be wanting to buy a little Grogu for his Echo Base collection room.
It'll be like KFC. It'll be Kenner fried chicken. So there you go.
Just I reckon one of those ears would be tasty.
Something to chew on. A real treat. Like pork scratchings.
Yeah.
Like pork scratchings. Hey.
Pork scratchings. I think we should swiftly move on.
Why not?
Next thing to check out, let me get rid of that trailer off the screen because it's going to run and run. Willow.
Yay.
So returning this November, and we've got a trailer for that, so let's bring that up on the screen as well. I think Willow's looking absolutely beautiful. And there's been a lot of talk, obviously, with House of the Dragon, Rings of Power, and that as a fantasy, Willow can't stack up. But looking at the reaction to it, looking at the presentation of it, looks brilliant, doesn't it?
The production value of this is way better than Obi-Wan Kenobi. They've thrown some serious money at this. I mean, this has got the potential of being Star Wars meets Princess Bride, and I think that I was concerned about Warwick Davis's acting from the earlier trailers that we saw, but it seems pretty good in this, so I'm quite looking forward to it. Dare I say, I thought his position was going to become untenable, but no, it's looking really, really cool. This is the fantasy adventure that people will, I think, don't quote me on it, but I think they'll say that of the the other two that you mentioned and this one, this will be the one that wins the most affection.
I think so. It feels like it's going to be like a real sort of family affair.
Yeah. I think the other ones that maybe people are getting sick and tired of things being a bit too serious, and this is what they're going to embrace.
Yeah, just a little bit fun, a little bit over the top. It's got that very much Doctor Who kind of feel to it, I thought.
Yeah, Doctor Who, sort of Time Bandits-y, sort of Terry Gilliam kind of stuff. Yeah, it looks like it doesn't take itself too seriously, but serious enough for people to buy into it.
Although I'm saying that sort of monkey type creatures there kind of look like the monkeys from Congo. It's not necessarily a good thing.
Yeah, well, they'll only be in it a bit.
Yeah. And Christian Slater's going to be joining the show as well.
Yes, I read about that. Yeah, so he's going to be apparently in some way related to Mad Mardigan. Okay. So maybe a brother, cousin, uncle, who knows? But yeah, he's going to be some relation. So yeah, that's an interesting addition.
Phil Parker there still hasn't watched Willow. You're missing out. You're missing out. Like how did you survive your entire childhood without seeing Willow?
Yeah, just forgive the Ray Harryhausen style sort of effects that are in there, but the story is great. And Val Kilmer, I reckon that's probably Val Kilmer's finest film. Really, really good in that. Yep. Really entertaining.
Let's keep moving on because the trailers keep coming at us. Tales of the Jedi also got its official trailers as the sort of new 6-episode animation shorts. They're going to come out October 26th, so just missing my birthday by 3 days.
All right,
we're going to get all 6 episodes in one hit, which is a fresh move for Lucasfilm. Yeah.
I mean, the first thing that struck me when I watched this is, does Mace Windu actually ever age? He seems to look exactly the same in any time period that they plonk him in. Great to see baby Ahsoka. fantastic to see a young Dooku, but also I'm assuming that that's Qui-Gon, his apprentice. So that'd be good to see a young Qui-Gon in action. Yeah, style-wise, very similar to what we used to with the Clone Wars and Bad Batch. That same sort of style of animation, but it looks really good. What are your thoughts on how Dooku looks as a youngster? Well, as a young man.
He kind of has got that Count Dracula feel to him, hasn't he? Which is obviously comes from Christopher Lee, so it kind of works.
Yeah, I thought that as well. And young Liam Neeson now, and Mace, who never ages, and Ahsoka spinning, and I think Rex has just been on the screen, or he's about to be on the screen. So we've got Rex in there as well. Yeah. So I think this. Am I right in thinking this is basically two key stories? There's the one about
there seems to be like 3 episodes focused on Ahsoka, 3 episodes focused on Dooku.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, but yeah, it looks great. And the fact that it's a mini series as well, it's one that's easy for people to digest, isn't it? It's just sort of like, you haven't got to spend too much time on it. Was that a young Yoda that you saw fighting, or was that a Yaddle?
That was a Yaddle.
Yeah. And is that Inquisitor? Is that one of the Darths of old?
It is. It is an Inquisitor.
Yeah.
Phil Parker makes an interesting point. Why not release it as an animated film if we're getting all 6 at once? I kind of think it could have been, if it's 3 episodes each character, two animated films could have worked. But I guess it's to do with the way that people now consume video. Short form video seems to be the thing that the kids love nowadays. I guess that's why it's short.
Yeah, I mean, let's say they're 26, 27 minutes each episode. I mean, Phil's right; they could easily have stitched through the story episodes together to make one story, and 3 for the other. Excuse me. But then it always sounds more impressive if they're giving you 6 bites of the cake rather than 2. So that's why they've done that. Again.
Mr. Newbold also informs us that Liam Neeson's kid voices young Qui-Gon. So that's an interesting.
Oh, yeah.
An interesting move.
That's cool.
Next trailer to check out, Andor. We've seen a lot of footage from Andor. A lot of TV trailers and other trailers. And I guess we've got another trailer just before the release, probably driven by the fact that it was sort of delayed a month. But we won't say no to more footage. So this is what they've delivered up for Andor for our final trailer for the series, dropping September 21st. And it really capitalizes on what we've seen before, really extends on the depths of the darkness, on his origin story, the politics and carry on. And more shots of the Highlands, where I'm from, which brings me out of the footage every time. I'm going to have to get used to that.
And there's going to be so many Scottish accents in this one as well.
You think?
Yeah. Well, there's certainly that guy that was in EastEnders that's put on a bit of timber now. He's very Scottish, very broad Scottish. Very broad as well.
They're very offensive in this show about fat people, I'd just like to point out.
I like to be. Unlike Willow, which will benefit from being lighter in tone than the Lord of the Rings prequel and the Game of Thrones prequel, this Andor actually benefits from being perhaps the darkest and most grown-up Star Wars that we've had to date. I think what it will do, it will certainly change the way that we view the character of Cassian, and it will no doubt change the way that we view not only Rogue One, but obviously leading from Rogue One into A New Hope. It's basically, I think I'm right in saying, a spy thriller that's going to be spread out over 2 12-episode seasons.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's probably like the Killing Eve of Star Wars. That's how I put it to a friend of mine the other day. And
I kind of applaud what they're doing here in terms of, you've got 3 generations of Star Wars fans effectively now.
Yeah.
OT generation, prequel generation, sequel generation, or what about them? And They get the raw end of the stick. But they won't be saying that in 20 years' time because they'll be now behaving like the prequel generation are and loving Obi-Wan and so on. Anyway, it's you've got to cater to that 3 generations, and it's not easy to do in one show to connect with that varying age groups. So Andor kind of feels like it's maybe something for us old farts, the OT guys. That is maybe that a little bit more mature, a little bit heavy, more heavy to it, a little bit more political, a little bit darker.
Do you think that might be the reason that and for the first time we've got another Star Wars show launching almost, just a week later? We've got Bad Batch coming on the 28th.
It's not coming till January the 4th now.
Oh, they've moved it now, have they?
They've moved it.
Okay. Okay. Right. I thought now it would have been clever for them to have had the 2 coming together, because then if the one series was deemed to be a bit too sort of grown up for some of the younger ones, then perhaps they'd have been into Bad Batch. All right, I didn't realise they'd moved it. I thought
it was a very late D23 reveal. Everyone's kind of expecting it for 28th, and then at D23 we've learned it's going to be 4th of January. So a lot of people are disappointed, but then we've kind of known that because it hasn't been getting promoted as part of the September releases by Disney PR. So it's why is it not getting promoted? Where's the footage? Where's the trailers? And then obviously then we've announced there's a delay, so something's going on in the background.
Yeah.
Mr. Newbold saying yes, he needs to update that article. He does, because I fell trick of it. I had it down as being released on the 28th of September as news for the show. But I've quickly updated all my slides, and we'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah, I know. Editors, you just can't get them, can you?
I know. Mr. Newbold's let us down there. Led us astray. Get the website up to date, Mr. Newbold. Breaking news article.
He's let me down, he's let you down, he's let himself down, he's let us all down.
He's let his country down.
Come on, there must be a message from that, Mark. We can't print that one. But back to Andor. The other interesting thing, obviously, that was released was that 9 or 10 minute sort of almost a mini episode where we got to see something that was very reminiscent of the Geonosian droid sort of factory, where we got all the things clunking down out of the ceiling. It looked like it was being made for some sort of level for a video game to me, but again, it's set in a really sort of gritty, dirty tone for Andor. Love you. But no, I think Andor, because it's a character that's the only time the first time we engaged with Cassian Andor was in Rogue One, and Rogue One it was one of the bravest sort of Star Wars films, where it basically killed off the entire cast. So to be able to go back and give him the opportunity to flesh that character out and find out more about him, I mean, he looked absolutely delighted when we saw him on stage in California. I'm back. Can't believe it, I'm back.
Yeah. You say that's a brave call, but I was wishing that for the Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah. Thankfully, we got Luke in the Mandalorian to sort of. Let's not even go there. But yeah,
that's the reason that Grogu left Luke Skywalker. When Luke Skywalker asked him if he wanted milk in his coffee, and as soon as Grogu found out he was getting the milk, it's like, I'm out of here.
Do you want blue or green? I'll leave it, thanks. I'll leave it. Andor is probably the thing that I'm looking forward to most of all, out of all the things that we've talked about at D23. That, and then closely followed by Ahsoka, which I hardly got to mention. But more on that in a bit.
Yeah. Another show that's coming up that hasn't had too much mentions, but it's kind of interesting me.
Yeah.
Star Wars does Stranger Things. That's, I think, basically where we're heading in this one. Skeleton Crew with Jude Law, who is kind of an odd cast in his own way. He doesn't strike me as kind of your typical Star Wars actor.
No.
But he seems pretty excited about this and pretty excited about the characters that we're going to meet. He's been talking at D23 We kind of got a little sort of teaser image if you go onto fantatracks.com's sort of coverage article of the D23 showcase. You'll sort of see the image in there.
Yeah.
And he kind of talks about walking on set and it hit him like a child. He's all struck by certain characters that are around me, and he can't say much more.
No, those blasted NDAs. Yeah, he's clearly really excited about being in it. I'm not sure what I feel about the skeleton crew. It didn't get a brilliant reception when they built up to it, when they did the Lucasfilm presentation at Celebration. But I think that was the way they introduced it, because they straight away said this is a show based on a bunch of kids. We thought, oh, here we go, Goonies, or what did you say earlier?
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things, yeah.
Phil Parker's making a comment there. I think it's quite interesting. He's not sure, and it could be the resistance of live action. I think it's got that risk. I think it's definitely one. If Andor's designed for the OT generation, this one's definitely designed for the young people, I think.
Yeah. I hope you're wrong, Phil, because I'm feeling you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Jude Law does look excited about being in it, and the still image that we've seen of him with his dark jacket and like a scarf wrapped around his head, and he's looking towards the doorbell droids, as I call them, as we first saw him return the Jedi at Jabba's palace, and we've seen since in some of the live action TV stuff. And then in the background, you can see the blurred image of a bunch of kids. Maybe he's the Fagin from outer space. Maybe we're going to get like an Oliver Twist kind of story. Who knows?
Yeah, I think the kind of premise, I think, as I understood it, was they're effectively going to be stuck in a ship.
Yeah.
And that was kind of it's basically that's the scale in Greek. It's going to be him and a bunch of kids stuck in a ship. And that was going to be the sort of main premise, but we'll wait and see what develops. I'm kind of expecting to hear a lot more of that. Something that we have been seeing a lot of, and we kind of spoke about it earlier, is this Andor on Disney Plus Day. We got a special sort of 10-minute look at the show, and it kind of focused on that scene you were talking about in the kind of warehouse kind of area where Andor's met up with the guy that's hired him to get a little bit of Imperial tech, but he's maybe being led astray a little bit. Guy's not necessarily wanting the tech, he's more interested in Andor himself and kind of knows a lot about Andor, and things get a little bit tasty. They come under attack, and the machines and various pulleys all around them start getting pretty dangerous as the fight is sort of intensifies.
Yeah. Like I said before, it looks very much like it would translate into a pretty good level on a video game.
Luthen Rail, as Marx is pointing out, he's on the ball tonight as Mr. Newbuild with the names. I was trying to talk myself through there and get away with not having to name the guy, and he's just let me down.
It's too late to try and make it.
He's called me out.
But you made a good point at the start of what you were saying there, where that character, he's probably more intrigued at how Andor's able to get hold of such a device rather than the actual device itself. So he's sort of questioning his loyalties as to whether he is actually a potential member of the Rebel Alliance, or whether he is sort of like working as a double agent for the Empire. That's the kind of vibe I was getting from that 9 or 10 minute extended clip that we got. It was like watching something Tiswas back in the day. You used to get great film clip on Tiswas as one for the kids.
And of course the casting kind of maybe alludes to something that I think we're going to see a lot throughout the series, and that he can go unseen because the Imperials just don't view him as a threat. And then he makes all the fat jibes that I'll hold him to when I meet him at Celebration next year.
Well,
terrible. Fat shaming. It's like the one last thing that society seems able to do without any criticism.
Well, I've lost a bit of weight, so I'm all right. Oh dear. No, it's it was a strange choice to show such a lengthy clip of it, I thought.
Yeah. I think that was the. I think I'm right in saying that that was what was shown along with Rogue One, at the IMAX screenings,
Right,
and
okay.
then they've released it along with Disney Plus Day. Lots of behind the scenes clips from the Highlands, which is really confusing for me. uh, but we'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get into the show. I think I'm going to enjoy this show. So we'll
To
get there.
my
Also, Disney Plus Day, we've got Obi-Wan Kenobi, A Jedi's Return,
oh,
documentary on the Obi-Wan Kenobi show that obviously has been airing earlier this year. We're kind of liking the documentaries that Disney Plus are doing. I think they're doing a pretty good job with them. And
I love that.
this
Yeah,
kind of,
I
to
love,
me, captured kind of essence of the show. And I enjoyed Obi-Wan, but I wasn't completely blown away with it. And I think I
yeah,
enjoyed it more the fact that we're getting these characters back and they were back together rather than the story. So I
yeah.
actually really enjoyed this documentary, to be honest, because it was, hey, look at them all back together.
Yeah,
And it was the same
yeah,
kind of feeling yesterday at D23. There was an image came out with Harrison Ford with Short Round. And
yeah,
I love that kind of thing.
yeah. No, that was really sweet to say that, wasn't it? But yeah, I was a bit like that with The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker, the actual behind the scenes documentaries where you see the bonding going on between the actors and how they're enjoying the actual process of making it far more than we enjoyed what they actually made. Um, I enjoyed Obi-Wan Kenobi as a series. I thought it was pretty good. No, it wasn't perfect, and like I said earlier, the production values on Willow seem way better than what we got for Obi-Wan. Um, and Andor will benefit from the fact that it doesn't use the volume anywhere near as much as we're getting in the other TV series. Um, the the main thing that I liked about the behind the scenes thing was how genuinely enthusiastic Ewan was about the whole process. He was clearly well glad to be back in that role. Probably because he was also getting producer fees as well. But but I mean, he was going to make a nice bit of coin from it all. But I do think he genuinely enjoyed it. And Hayden, it was almost like it was his redemption. Um, for whatever reason, you know, he got a lot of bad press back in the day when the prequels came out. I actually thought that he did what he could with the script he was given. I don't think there was anything particularly wooden or bad about um, Attack of the Clones or Revenge of the Sith, Anakin Skywalker. I thought they were fine. Um, but for him to embrace coming back to the saga that he may have felt had mistreated him, good on him. Fair play to him.
One cool thing that came out of the documentary is how many years are we away from having a volume as a TV set at home?
What you mean when they're all stood in front of
Yeah.
it watching it, or you've suddenly got uh, was it Deborah Chow walking across, and then you could see like everything changing in the back. Yeah, yeah, that would be pretty amazing. Yeah,
Phil making
I
a
don't
point
think
there. Attack of the
it's probably
Clones,
not.
whiny Anakin had a lot to do with it. Kind of agree. I think he got some bad lines, some bad
Yeah,
scenes, and yeah, kind of knocked his
yeah,
stuffing out of his credibility. I think a little bit there.
yeah. I don't really think it was down necessarily to the acting, but the fact that the script was pretty poor.
Yeah. Talking
Yeah.
of poor scripts, Book of Boba Fett.
I
um,
like it.
However, congratulations ILM VFX for
Yeah,
their contribution to the Book of Boba Fett. They've won an award for the special effects
yeah,
on the season. Not my favourite show. Kind of the story was a little bit all over the place, and it had Power Rangers and all sorts.
yeah.
But I don't think anyone can disagree that they did some pretty cool things. Special effects wise, the Rancor for me was excellent.
The Rancor for me was probably the thing that I liked the least because it was very, very King Kong. But I loved seeing Slave One in action. I mean, the picture that's on the screen there, that the way that sort of emerged from sort of like the background and then came into shot and then started blowing up all the biker gang was pretty cool. And to see it getting dragged into the Sarlacc pit was equally good. Um, I haven't got a major problem with the Book of Boba Fett series. Boba Fett, I've always really liked the character, but I've never been as invested in it as, say, Matt Booker was obviously invested in Boba Fett. And I kind of liked the fact that his character was changed by the situation he found himself in after escaping the pit of Carcoon. And by the end of the Book of Boba Fett, he made it quite clear that I've had enough of this stuff. I want to get back to how I used to be. So I think if we do get Boba turn up in Mandalorian season 3, we will get the Boba Fett that people miss.
Well, yeah.
I think he'll be back.
You could effectively have him take over a whole episode of Mando as revenge for Mando taking over a whole episode of his, and deliver the character we want to see and justify a season 2. I think the thing that got me most about the Book of Boba Fett is it didn't have a proper body. Didn't really care about the Pikes. It didn't have the payoff. Everyone was expecting someone to be above them, and kind of just never happened. And
I suppose the biggest villain of the piece was it Mokshay, the mayor?
Well, I blame his receptionist, to be honest.
I was just going to say his receptionist was really the one that was sort of the puppet master, as you know.
It's just a face you can't trust. It's just.
Yeah, but have you got an appointment?
What other news have we got? Let's find out. Coming up next, Bad Batch. My article, when I started prepping this for the show, said the 28th of September, but 5 minutes before we came on air, I was corrected that it is the 4th of January next year, and that was announced at D23. So it was on some schedules for Disney PR, and they were still promoting it for the September the 28th, and then it wasn't on others, and so it's been a lot of confusion. And it was mentioned in a red carpet event just this past week. It was going to be the 28th of September. But on stage, they definitely said the 4th of January, 2023. So we're going to have to go with that just now. And
I'm glad I brought it up.
Yeah, so it has been a whole mix of confusion. But we seem to have a date, and it's going to be after Andor's finished. We're going to have Bad Batch on the air. So that instead of having what we're thinking, 2 shows running side by side, 2 different things to watch on a Friday or a Wednesday. Is that Wednesday they're released now? Wednesdays.
It's been Wednesdays recently, hasn't it, with different things.
We're going to have one by one again, so that potentially means that Mando season 3 would be April.
Yeah.
It did say, however, on the Mando account on Twitter up till recently, February 2023. And that's been removed as of today. So we'll wait and see. But it looks like that's going to be April as well.
Well, what about Ahsoka? When's that supposed to be out?
They finished filming that in November.
Right.
So
Okay.
I would suggest 6 to 8 months at the earliest would be needed post that. So you're looking at summer, post-celebration. If you put Mando to April, then you're into celebration season. So do you release it round about celebration? Run it for 8 weeks, takes you into July, which is kind of 8 months after Ahsoka wraps. Release that July, August on the back of Mando. So,
do you think that makes sense? And I'm hoping, above all hopes, that at Celebration we get the announcement of Star Wars back at the cinemas. Who knows?
What's a cinema?
You what, sorry?
What's a cinema?
It's like somewhere where you go and watch the big telly.
There we go.
You've been.
And Phil Power, episode 1 of Mando showing at CE4.
Right.
Makes sense to me, I think.
Yeah.
And Mr. Newbold also need plenty to be around at the time of celebration.
Yeah.
Kind of feels like that's the kind of working plan at the moment. Kind of feels right. If you go Bad Batch January, it takes you through to April. April, alongside Celebration, you launch Mando. Mando takes you through to late July, early August, which is 8-9 months after you've wrapped on Ahsoka, so it gives you time to get that series in place, release that, and you're into winter next year. It might just give you enough time to do Andor season 2 for the tail end of the year.
They filmed it all, haven't they? Have they filmed everything?
I think I'm right in saying that they're literally just started season 2.
Oh, have they? Right, okay.
Yeah, I believe I'm right in saying that. And then in between that, we've still got Droid Tales, which everyone's gone silent on, which is always a good thing when it comes to droids. The Acolyte as well. Cast of news is flooding in for that, so it would be as well just going straight onto that now, I think. Jodie Turner-Smith, according to Deadline, has joined the cast. And on top of that as well, Lee Young-Ye from Squid Games as well in his first major studio role. So the cast for that's building. We can expect that to start filming maybe before the end of the year as well. So that then becomes a potential for the tail end of 23 and early 24 as well. So things are stacking up. It's going to be pretty hard for them to keep one show at a time on the air.
Yeah.
Could have multiples.
Yeah, it's going to happen at some point, or at least certainly some crossover. Acolyte.
Did you watch Squid Game?
I did, yes. I really enjoyed Squid Game, yeah.
I wasn't blown away by I loved the story of it. I wasn't necessarily blown away by any of the acting in it.
You like the morality tale of it all and all that?
I kind of enjoyed the story and it kind of worked for me, but the acting for me wasn't top drawer, so I was kind of surprised to see this casting news come in.
I thought, I suppose because it was a foreign language production, certainly the kids here liked to watch the subtitled version rather than the dubbed version because you've got the choice of watching either. But I thought visually it was pretty cool. I liked the tug of war episode. I thought that was quite a strong one, and obviously the one where it was basically a take on not now Mr. Wolf.
Red light, green light.
Yeah, red light, green light. Yeah, yeah. No, it was good.
But certainly, Jodie, an actress I don't know, can't comment on. I'm a little bit trepidatious about him, but they're starting to put together a cast. We still don't really know much about this other than it's going to be towards the end of the High Republic era, so just as everything's fallen apart for the Jedi. Their glory days are behind them.
Yeah, have you invested much time in the High Republic content?
Too much time, too much money.
Really?
Yeah. It's good, it's solid, it's good, but I feel like it's over-dominating now Star Wars publishing, and that other parts of the publishing is falling away.
Yeah, and I think I've said before, it's an area of Star Wars that I've not read anything.
They've overcomplicated it.
Yeah,
and they've given the characters too many complicated names, so it makes it very hard for a casual reader to follow. I think Phil Parker's saying the same. He's found it hard to keep track of. If you think about Luke Leia Han, Finn Poe Rey, very simple names, and they just haven't gone that direction. And it's like there's so many characters with similar names. It's like I honestly can't remember who you are, and it's frustrating. And it's because it's flips between comic and book publishing. Some is very visual, and then you go into prose, and it can be a bit awkward because you think, well, I kind of know who that character was when I see him on a comic, but is that the same one? And I'm reading it in the book. I need to go and double check and cross reference and that, and it pulls you out of the reading because I don't want to go and check something in a comic whilst I'm reading a book. And
no, but I mean, that's
I
where
think it's become a victim of his success. I think would be the way to.
That's where the sequel trilogy failed as well. I think because there's a lot of people saying, well, if you read the books and the comics, it fills in all the gaps for you. Yeah, that's all well good for a Star Wars fan. But what about
I've
the general audience?
actually got just over there. Shadow of the Sith by Adam Christopher, who kind of rescues the Rise of Skywalker, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
But that shouldn't be how it works.
No, you shouldn't have to rescue
No,
it.
because the percentage of people reading the book that accompanies the film or comes out multiple years after the film
Yeah,
is very slim.
yeah, exactly. Nice guy though, I have nothing.
Yeah, top guy, and I hope he gets more Star Wars work. He has
Yeah.
earned his opportunity,
Good
that's for sure. Mr.
Yeah.
Newbold there also saying Shadow of the Sith is fantastic. Someone else who thinks that something is fantastic. Look at that. Slick link. Rosario Dawson on Ahsoka. It is super amazing, and I don't use that word very lightly. She's not talking about the sequel trilogy. She's talking about her own show, Ahsoka, and she's blown away with what they're doing. And there's a lovely picture of George in live action Ahsoka there. And it's always good to get a picture of George with a smile on his face because he was treated abysmally in recent years and not had the best of times under Disney either, I don't think.
No, definitely not. Interestingly, did you see the behind the scenes documentary that was released a few weeks back? The one about ILM, and there was loads of clips of George interwoven in that. He doesn't sound too good at the moment, old George. I hope I'm. But,
he's had a bit of a beating, I think, the last few years when it's come to Star Wars and his relationship with Disney. And I think they're maybe trying to amend it a little bit. But we also have to be aware he's getting into a fair old age himself as well. And I kind of disappointed that we never really got the opportunity to see the sort of independent films from him again that he kind of wanted to go back to. That kind of feels like that time may have gone. Although he did say that he was going to make them just for himself, so maybe he has been making them in his own little way.
That'll be his legacy when he does finally pop off. Yeah.
And Mr. Newbold, he's 79 this coming year. That shows you.
Yeah.
But certainly a great picture there of him having a lot of fun with Rosario. Yeah. And she had a great quote. I thought her grandmother used to say, "Amazing as two blue horses." If you ever said something was amazing, because it's like, no, amazing as two blue horses, that pizza slice probably isn't amazing. And I thought it's a great line.
That is a brilliant line.
So I'm going to use that. Next time we hear someone says amazing, I use it all the time. So I'm going to call myself out on it. Is Ahsoka a show you're looking forward to? I know a lot of people are very trepidatious about this, but they're huge animation fans and worried about seeing the character cross over.
I love the introduction that we got where we first saw her in season 2 of Mandalorian. She was introduced brilliantly, and what we've had of her so far on screen, I think Rosario's done a really good job. What I like about what is being called the Ahsoka, from all the bits and bobs that we're having revealed to us, it's looking increasingly like an extension of Rebels rather than just Ahsoka. So that's what I'm liking about it. I think it's going to be way bigger than just Ahsoka Tano. It's going to be Rebels, the live action, which, I'd be more than happy to see that.
That leads perfectly on to the next article.
It's like we wrote it, isn't it?
Eman Esfandi. There we go. I think that's more accurate. I'm going to learn it.
Just closer.
Is going to be playing Ezra Bridger in Ahsoka according to Deadline. And interestingly, Robert, there we go, I can't even say that. Robert, they directed one of the some of the Mando stuff, some of the Book of Boba Fett stuff. Just Big Robert, Big Bob. Man was in his film Red 11. So I wonder if he had a part in saying, I know the perfect guy for you guys.
Yeah, possibly. Good old Bob.
Bob.
No, I think this is good casting. He looks like an older version of Ezra. I don't know much about him as an actor. Do you?
Absolutely nothing.
No.
Absolutely nothing. He has a film coming out called The Inspection very soon, so that's something we can check out. And find out a little bit more about him. I think we're going to be hearing a lot about him in the coming period. Again, big pressure taking on an animated role. We've obviously now got Sabine, Ezra, and Ahsoka all cast, and we're pretty sure that the what's the other one? Hera. You can tell I don't watch the cartoons, can't you? I was like, managed to pull that one out of nowhere. Hera Sudunda, is that correct?
Harris Sandula, yes.
There we go.
Yeah.
Is also going to be in it. We don't know who's going to be playing her.
Well, I think we can pretty much say that Chopper will be in it. That's pretty easy to cast that one.
Yeah.
So Chopper will be in there. And there's been sort of noises being bounced around that Zeb's going to be in it as well. So let's see.
That's not helping, Mark. I'm typing it out because I would still say that's Hera Syndulla.
Hera Syndulla's more.
Hugh McGregor's missus, he reckons, is going to be playing Hera.
Yes, yeah.
And Phil Parker really wants Zeb in it. Matt Booker would obviously be the best person to play Zeb.
He's probably just a little bit too tall.
Yes. So that is our casting done for Ahsoka. We might get more news next week. Who knows? Cindy Links have been all over it on the casting front of late, and Deadline have gotten into the game, and Hollywood Reporter have been confirming some of the rumours. Although technically it's not a confirmation until Lucasfilm says, but based on experience, Lucasfilm doesn't put out press releases. I'm still waiting for Ryan Johnson to be announced for episode 8, for example. Never was announced.
Fingers crossed that doesn't happen.
But so whether these become official announcements or they just end up just happening, kind of feels like it's just going to happen now. Effectively, once Variety and Hollywood Reporter say it, you can know it's pretty much happening because they've got the lines to the agents, and pretty much they're not going to put a story out there without being pretty certain.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
The other stuff. Hold with me. We are here. I pushed the wrong button. The over enthusiasm there because I was going to bring up the graphic for this and I got too excited. Start your engines before you go. Promote your podcast. There's a big countdown clock because I've been waiting years for Start Your Engines and it's finally here. There's episodes out.
Well, thank you for giving it that countdown. Straight off the back of what was a very enjoyable episode regarding AT-AT walkers, ATSTs, and anything else that
Chicken
wandered around
walkers.
on there. Any walker, Walker's Crisps, Annie Walker. We've got Mark and I will be getting ourselves together soon to record the next episode. In fact, we are due to meet up next weekend over at Leicester Space Centre for a Star Wars event. But obviously, in light of what's happened with the Queen, we may find that is cancelled. But we're waiting to find out. Hopefully not. And Warwick Davis is due to be there as well. So if we get 5 or 10 minutes spare, then we might go and record the next episode. Failing that, I'll be over to Burntwood as soon as I can.
Excellent. We're waiting for the next episode. Before I push the wrong button again, or double click. I double clicked, man. That didn't mean to. And the screensaver came on. I had to press the button. It's just like I was playing blind. Press the wrong one. Terrible. That's what happens when you're live. You get this every week. Every week live in the show, you'll get a laugh. If the content's not good, you can at least laugh at the hosts. And I think that's probably a good point to end the show before I press the wrong button and something goes seriously wrong. So, Paul, thank you for joining me this week. We've had a pretty mega week of Star Wars news to get through. We managed to get through it all. And,
it was my pleasure to come and join you for what has been a really big week for Star Wars. And some really good stuff coming up. And it's going to be a fantastic time for us all to embrace the new adventures of Star Wars. So bring it on.
I'll be back next week, and we'll just be days away from new Star Wars live-action content as well at that point. So I'm expecting lots of exciting news this coming week as well, and as the build-up intensifies. So, Paul, thank you for joining me. Thank you, everyone in the chat, for the comments. Appreciate them. And it keeps us on our toes as well with some great questions and great comments in there as well. So, on that note, we'll end the show, and we'll see you all again next week. Goodbye night.
See ya. Bye.
Keep up to date with the latest Star Wars news each and every day on FanthaTracks.com. You can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Tumblr, and Pinterest at FanthaTracks. And be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and follow FanthaTracks TV to be alerted to new content and to be a part of our live shows.